Are you ready?
Yeah, turn up the heat.
Are you ready?
Is he ready?
Oh, yeah, he's ready.
It's go time.
Ready to go beyond the scores and stats.
I love it.
Good.
Let's bring it in. It's showtime, right?
Welcome to High on Sports.
The whole deal is like some kind of crazy game.
Exclusively on MorningShowCentral.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to High on Sports. I'm Ralphie, and with me, as always,
Ashley.
And I am Von Erich.
And whether you are listening to tonight's show on your computer or on one of the many glorious apps, thank you for making High on Sports a part of your evening. If you are not listening on one of the many glorious apps, remember, take your smartphone, just go to the App Store. It's free to get. Search for TuneIn Radio, hit install, hit play, and you are ready to go. Just search MSC Radio Network, and you can hear us live on the go from your phone, all that good stuff. And remember, as always, you can get a hold of us through the phone, 1-888-668-0742. Email your questions or comments to shows with an S at morningshowcentral.com. Remember, we're all over the social network. Twitter is at @high_on_sports. Facebook.com/high-on-sports. And get to the website, high-on-sports.net, for the archive of all our past shows, my blog, and a bunch of other fun stuff. Again, remember, immediately following tonight's show, my full first-round mock draft will be on there. We'll see how far we get into it. That'll be near the end of the show. Really, the last thing we'll hit on will be my mock draft. I mocked the whole first round. We'll go at least top 10 here live on air. The rest of it, though, will be available on the website under the Ralphie's Rants section. Again, that is high-on-sports.net. All right, well, we've got a jam-packed show for you, so let's get right into things here. It is round one. Let's go. All right, real quick, though, let me start things off by saying in about 7 minutes or so, at about 7:10 tonight, we will be joined on the phone live with 19 Action News sports director Tony Zarrella, who will be talking all things local sports with us. We're going to be hitting on the Browns draft, Cavs coaching search, hopefully get into some of this Jimmy Haslam stuff and a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, we'll save the rest for when he gets here. But again, that's at about 7:10. 19 Action News sports director Tony Zarrella will be on the phone with us live here on the show. But until then, let's start breaking this down. I'm thoroughly disappointed. The NBA playoffs started this weekend, not with a bang, but with a whimper, I think it's safe to say. The home team went 8-0 in the opening
who would have thought?
opening games. Yeah, it's... I mean, you got Miami beats Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Hey, Ralphie.
Yeah?
You mentioned Tony, right?
Yes.
7:20 is when he'll be on. He just called.
Oh, 7:20 Tony will be joining us?
Yes.
Okay, I guess we'll have Tony on at 7:20. We'll have him on for about 10 minutes or so. We'll see how things go. Talk some local sports with him, Browns draft, and all that other fun stuff. But until then, obviously, let's hit on the NBA playoffs here. Like I said, Miami over Milwaukee, Indiana over Atlanta, Brooklyn over Chicago, New York over Boston, Oklahoma City over Houston, San Antonio over L.A., trounced L.A. really, Denver over Golden State, Clippers over the Grizzlies. It was really just...
And the NBA isn't one of those sports that you would naturally think that the home team would have the advantage.
No. I mean, it's just... There's... More and more, there is just parity in the, or should I say lack of parity or whatever, in the NBA.
No.
The good teams are rising and the bad teams are falling,
That
and it's
pretty
just
much is what it is.
and so much of it is this super team, and you look at it, how many people were players who are now out of it. Orlando no longer a figure in the East with the loss of Dwight Howard. Phoenix has been falling, but especially losing Steve Nash there. They're just gone.
Ever since they lost Charles Barkley.
Yeah, ever since it's been all downhill. Dallas unable to keep things going there. Not even making it this year. It's just
my pick to win the division too.
Yep.
Ouch.
I mean, you got these young squads that are really doing some things here with the Grizzlies and the Clippers, but it just seems like with the NBA now, you get to that sort of good team status, that young athletic team, like a Grizzlies is a good example. There is no singular star central figure to the Grizzlies. There's a lot of good players coming together, but they sit there and they sort of can't make that jump until they can lure somebody. And I hate it any time in a sport when location matters so much. You can't draw superstars to Memphis. No. You can't.
No, because they want the high life. They
Exactly.
want the parties, and they want the market and all that. And, yeah, you're not going to find that in Memphis. You're not going to find that in Sacramento. So they kind
Although
of
you soon might not find an NBA team in Sacramento.
And that's why.
I mean,
So no matter how you can get a couple good kids, and yeah, you can make the playoffs, but you're never going to beat one of the top teams because they have all the stars, because all the stars nowadays are flocking together. Instead of doing it on their own and trying to win that way, they're just copping all the easy way out, and now we have like 10 super teams and everybody else is SOL.
I just think it's so much, and I know some people out there are going to say, oh, you're just a disgruntled Cleveland fan. I mean, yeah, to an extent, sure, but it's just so much better when it can be marketed as stars duking it out. Can LeBron James lead the Cavaliers past Dwayne Wade in the Heat? I mean, Toronto, nobody even remembers them. Chris Bosh used to be there. They used to be pretty good with Chris Bosh, I mean, for the most part. But they're nowhere to be seen now. I mean, so many of these teams that had a star, had somebody to market the team around, and had somebody, to inspire hope and stuff like that.
They don't have
And then all of a
anyone.
sudden they just have no one because you
Yeah.
can't. The thing is, if you can't draw multiple superstars, then you can't get any superstars.
Yeah, and that's why I hate the NBA nowadays.
It's just it's becoming rough, and this is a showcase. This opening round of the playoffs is a showcase of how bad things are getting. And honestly, people, they're probably just going to get worse. Although, to be fair, there is the new rules in the new CBA increasing the fines for surpassing the luxury tax and the salary cap and things like that, which is supposed to kill any new super team from coming up. This isn't necessarily going to break it. This isn't going to break anybody up right now. It's not. But it's designed to, once these super teams sort of die out, for lack of a better term,
There won't be
new ones, supposedly. We'll see how that plays out. Like, for example, in the next couple of years, the Miami Heat won't have the money to re-sign Wade, LeBron, and Bosh. It's supposed to prevent that. But then again, LeBron and Bosh both took pay cuts to go be with Miami to begin with. But I don't know. And I've said this before. The game loses all its luster when you start talking contracts and figures and salary cap and luxury tax and all that stuff. Oh, jeez. And that's another thing is people are saying with Kobe Bryant with that injury, how next year is kind of up in the air for him, and it's the last year under contract with the Lakers. People are saying, oh, well, it's so easy. All you do is you amnesty Kobe Bryant, give him a year off, maybe go play ball in Italy or something to rehab. And then, during that time, they can re-sign Dwight, bring in another star, and then bring Kobe back. No. Everybody gets confused because they hear this big figure of what the Lakers would save by amnestying Kobe. They'd save some, I don't have it offhand, some ridiculous 60, 70, 80 million, something like that. Something insane. But what people don't realize is what they'd be saving is all fines. It's all fees of going over the salary cap. If you amnesty Kobe Bryant, do you know how much they have to spend after, assuming they re-sign Dwight Howard for whatever that will be? The Lakers have approximately, if they were to amnesty Kobe, as far as actual money to go out and spend, about $3 million. That's it. That's it. Because what people don't realize is all this saving money is saving money in the luxury tax and the fines and the fees and everything they'll face for going over the salary cap. It's not saving actual money that they can go out and use. And not even to mention the fact that people forget amnesty means they're still paying Kobe Bryant. Yeah. They're still paying him. They just think, oh, because it doesn't go towards the salary cap, that's like money that doesn't exist. No, to the people owning the team and running the team, that's still money that exists. It's like the Cavaliers still had to pay pretty heavily for Baron Davis after they gave him the amnesty. Although, of course, amnesty then takes it sort of off the books. It's more or less like under the table to an extent. It's like, I'm still going to pay you, but it's not going to go towards the salary cap or the actual team itself. I mean, looking at the NBA playoffs, though, and how things are shaping up and stuff, I'm worried. I don't want this again. I'm worried we're just gonna get. I mean, maybe I do, but I'm worried we're looking at Heat Thunder again. Yeah. And I know people are gonna call me a Heat hater or whatever you want, but I don't want to see them go for competing for an NBA title for the third time in a row. I'm of the mindset where I like to see other teams rising up to the challenge and going at it from there. And, of course, what could make things a little more interesting was if the Bulls had Derrick Rose.
Yeah, Derrick Rose is not being a little baby.
I saw a very great point. It's rare this happens, but I saw a meme that made a brilliant point. It was a picture of Jay Cutler, and it says, removes himself from playoff game with a serious injury, called a coward and a pussy, plays in the same city as Derrick Rose. And who's questioning Derrick Rose right now?
And he's...
Jay Cutler's a soft-boned, putty-like coward to the media, but Derrick Rose is, respect the man, he knows when he's ready to go back.
Yeah. And I'm like, ACL... 6 to 9 months, 9 months tops, unless you literally have all your ligaments ripped out of your knee. 6 to 9 months.
It happened first round of the playoffs last year, so it's been about a year, almost to the day.
6 to 9 months. It's been a year, and he's not coming back. You want to know why he's not coming back? Because he's still getting his damn paycheck, sitting his ass on the bench, not having to do a damn thing. And that's why he's not coming back, because he's a lazy bum.
For any regular listener may notice I've sort of flipped positions on the whole Derrick Rose thing. Because you've felt that way the whole time. You've been very clear about that. I wasn't. I defended him at first. Because I thought if he needs to sit for now, let him sit for now. But we're in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
This is when they matter. He's not back yet. And he was medically cleared some time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the excuse doesn't work anymore. If you're like, well, I couldn't play at 100%, I can maybe do 80% of what I'm...
It's still better than zero.
I take that excuse in a regular season game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make him come back not ready yet for 80% of what he can do against the frickin' Orlando Magic on a Tuesday in March or something, But it's late April now. This is the playoffs. This is real. This is win and go or go home time. They're in the hole already to Brooklyn, a team that, at least to me, quietly got into the playoffs. Literally got in without me pretty much not noticing. Up until a little bit ago, I was still under the impression that Brooklyn was horrible.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to come out and call them great, but I am thoroughly surprised to see where they are, let alone their seeding. I believe they're, the fourth seed? Fourth seed in the East? The East doesn't know what it's doing right now. And that's the weird part is Lakers struggle and bite and claw and scratch and climb their way to that 8th spot, when if you put them in the East, they would have been sitting comfortably in the playoffs for
quite some time.
For
the East
almost
is
about
bad.
a month now. They would
The
have
East
been
is bad.
sitting comfortably knowing they're a playoff team. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So I've been keeping up with a lot of standings and stuff like that, because as we get closer to draft time, which is in June, July, I think it's June. I believe it's June, for the NBA draft, the Cavaliers, of course, had their pick as well as the Heat's pick. But because the Lakers aren't a lottery team this year, they were able to switch that Heat pick with that Laker pick. So I'm thinking Lakers just made the playoffs barely. Cavs picking 1-17. All right. 19. And they barely accidentally made the playoffs.
Because didn't they squeeze into the 7th seed?
They did. They did on the last night make the 7th seed.
It was either 7th seed or nothing.
Exactly. On the last night they made the 7th seed. Which, I mean, you look at this on paper. Oklahoma City versus Houston. Houston is young, and James Harden is their leader, as well as there's some excitement factor around Jeremy Lin. And then San Antonio and L.A., this is 2 cornerstones of the NBA. For years, the title has gone through these 2 teams. Yet the playoffs are shaping up like this. I mean, it's just, these should be great series. I'm especially disappointed at the Lakers. But then again, I mean, yes, no Kobe. But still, this is just... This is not a team. Does anyone outside of LA, and even in LA, they can't think this, think that they're going to regroup, get their stuff together now that they're in the playoffs, and suddenly make some kind of a run?
Well, no, because they don't have Kobe, so they're done.
Absolutely. Without Kobe, this team's nothing.
No, and I mean, they're playing San Antonio. It's not even like they're playing another bottom seed. They got the Spurs. The Spurs are going to sweep them.
Absolutely. The Spurs are pretty much the best coached team in maybe all of professional sports. It doesn't even matter how old they get. As long as Greg Popovich is at the helm, he can figure out some way to do something. He's one of those coaches where he somehow takes these scraps that nobody wants, these guys that are too old or never really made anything of themselves, and he's kind of like the one coach who can just get them to work. You know, because he takes these guys, he's out there winning with guys that it's like, well, I remember when he was here. He was horrible.
Yeah, Danny
and
Green.
it's like, yeah, he just sunk a game-winning
Danny
three
Green,
or
we
something.
sent him back down to the D-League. Next thing I know, he's like lighting it up in San Antonio.
That's what they do. That's what they do. Absolutely. But, and then tragic for a team that's really on the cusp of potentially something great is the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, who, by the way, I didn't realize this till the end there. Last game of the season, or it might have been second to last, he actually set the record for most threes in a season.
Oh,
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I mean, he just lights it up. He had a better shooting percentage from three-point range than he did from two. How does that happen? How is anyone that good of a shooter? I don't even understand. But of course, they lost David Lee over in Golden State for the remainder of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which losing a valuable big like that, goodbye is all you can say.
Yeah.
I mean, Denver. This was going to be probably of all these series the series to watch. But Denver loses Armando Gallinari. Sorry, I don't speak whatever language he's from. They lose him right before the playoffs start, so they lose a valuable big themselves. But I just think Denver's too complete to be able to for Golden State to really stop them without David Lee. So I mean, and it's unfortunate because that was really young teams, athletic teams, talented teams. Really, that were going to be going at it. That would have been a fun one to watch. But now it's two teams going against each other that are both just kind of missing something. It's two incomplete teams duking it out, which is just not a fun sight to see. But I still have high hopes for this Boston New York series. I think Boston can. I think Boston can win in New York in the next game. I think this is one of the closest 2 versus 7 matchups we've ever had. Of course, the next game for them is Tuesday at 8 p.m. on TNT. Again, that will be in Madison Square Garden. But it's just they're really close, and the biggest thing is the Knicks. I'm not a believer on the Knicks.
Neither am I.
They're very talented offensively, but the defense, it's just
And
not there.
Carmelo, he's too much of a ball hog sometimes. Like, he'll shoot up 50 shots a game, and, I mean, most of the time he'll shoot a halfway decent percentage, so he'll score a lot of points and they'll win. But you're not going to shoot, like, 50% from the floor every night.
And it's
you throw up 100 shots, you're going to start missing some, and if you don't know how to facilitate, you're not going to win. And Boston is still, even without Rondo, they're still a good team. They're old, but they're still a good team.
And they're one of those teams that live and die by the three, and you always get that team, and like that motto goes, if you live by the 3, you will die by the 3.
It's the lowest percentage shot in basketball, and you're not going to make it every night.
Absolutely, unless you're Steph Curry.
Yeah, unless you're freaking Steph Curry, and no one has
Then
a
you're
team
fine.
full of Steph Currys, so it's not going to happen.
All right, we're now going to take a couple minutes here to talk to 19 Action News sports director Tony Zarrella. We're getting him on the line.
Hey, it's Tony.
Hey, Tony, this is Ralphie from High on Sports. You're on the air right now. How are you doing
All
tonight?
right, what's up?
Not much. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, man. A lot of stuff to talk about. What's going on in your world?
Oh, not much. We were just breaking down the playoffs a little bit. A little disappointed that the home team went 8-0.
You're breaking up on me right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it?
Oh, now you're back. You're good
Okay.
now.
All right. Good. Well, we were talking NBA, so I think we'll keep it there. And since we have you on the line, let's go right into this. The Cavaliers obviously firing Byron Scott this week. 2 names floating around. I want your take on this. Is possibly bringing Mike Brown back, and the rumors are out there about Phil Jackson. Do you see any light to either of these, and if so, which one seems more realistic?
Oh, Mike Brown by far. And, to be honest with you, and I wrote a blog about this for tonight that I put on 19actionnews.com under my Z files, but the possibility of Mike Brown coming back again is very intriguing to me. The Phil Jackson thing's never going to happen. It's good to dream big, but that's never going to happen. But the Mike Brown thing is interesting to me, and for those critics who talk about, well, yeah, Mike won 66 games in 2009, but they didn't win it, and yeah, he took him to the finals, but that was LeBron. If you're going to talk about how LeBron James was, harnessed by a lack of a second superstar and stuff like that, you got to give Mike Brown the same situation. He didn't have the supporting cast either. I think Mike Brown's an intriguing name, especially with a young team and some budding stars. I think he could make it work. Now, he'd still need that second superstar to win a title, but what I'm saying is he'd do a pretty good job coaching.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I thought the Phil Jackson thing when it came out, it was just a little over the top there. But and then you get all the speculation and rumors of, well, Phil could come back or come here, and then LeBron will come back the year after next. And I even heard one analyst on TV, I'm not going to name names, but suggest LeBron coming the year after next, and then after the Lakers amnesty Kobe, he joins Phil Jackson, and it just gets too crazy and too congested and a little too hard to believe.
Well, it is crazy. I mean, by then Kobe will need a walker to begin with. By the way, so will Phil. I mean, you're really hoping for a situation where, it would be not unlike Mike Holmgren in the sense that, of course, Phil would actually coach, but maybe just home games. That's never going to happen. It's a fantasy. But it's cool. It's due diligence for the Cavaliers to make a phone call. But, at the end there in L.A., if Phil went back, he didn't want to travel to the road games. Well, that's crazy, man. You're going to pay this guy $12 million a year to coach 41 games? It's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to switch gears a little bit and get into some football talk here. Before we get into the actual Browns on the field, unfortunately, we do have to address some off the field. Obviously, with this Jimmy Haslam potential scandal going on and the FBI probe and the recorded conversations and everything, I don't want to get too into the nitty-gritty and everything, but do you think there's a chance that somehow he has to step down in the coming days as Browns owner, and what that could mean for the franchise?
I think it would not be in the coming days. I do think there's a possibility that if this plays out as serious as it looks, and we could be talking 2 or 3 years down the road. Yes, I think that's a possibility. He defers ownership to maybe another family member or something. I hope it doesn't come to that. I'm not ruling him guilty, but when the feds come knocking at your door, they got something.
Oh,
they don't show up till they have it. And so I think it's a very serious situation, and I think at the very least, even if he was fined and he moves forward and pays his money, whatever, he looks very bad. For a guy who rode into town as the charming Southerner who, just really gave a feel-good angle to finally the ownership group of the Browns, it's so unbecoming of him as a CEO, and it's an awful situation. I hope it doesn't play out as serious as it can, but they don't put their ducks in a row and then come up with nothing when you talk about the FBI.
Absolutely.
Now, what kind of distraction is this to the franchise, if any, with all this stuff going on right before the draft and basically before he even takes over the team to a full effect?
Well, it's a good question. I don't think there's any distraction now because the guys that Jimmy put in place they're running the franchise, and that was the plan. If in a couple of years he had to defer the ownership, sell it, whatever, that'd be a nightmare because now you're back to square one again with the new owner bringing in his guys and a new system and a nightmare situation that we've lived too many times we don't want. So I don't think until then, I think it's business as usual. I don't think certainly the players care what's going on with Jimmy Haslam as long as the checks are coming. And I don't think that the guys in charge, Jimmy Haslam's not going to pick the draft pick anyway. So it doesn't change anything.
That's true. Speaking of the draft pick, though, obviously draft first round starts on Thursday. A lot of names being circulated and stuff. This, at least to me personally, this seems like one of the more up in the air, nobody knows what's going to happen kind of drafts we've had in some time. A name being thrown around in a lot of mocks, though, for the Browns is D. Milliner, and now some words coming out about maybe his shoulders and perhaps as healed as people think. Do you think it is? Do you think they're all in on him, the corner from Alabama?
I think they like him a lot. First of all, with the injury report, when people start floating that, it's because, especially close to the draft, be very leery of that because it's a lot of times other agents trying to affect his draft status and position. This guy is a game changer. He's a phenomenal player. If you think it's worth taking a corner at number 6 and he's on the board, I think you got to take him. I think I'm on record as saying I want game changers. I don't believe a perennial 5-win franchise, 5 wins a year, is in position to go for quantity over quality. I don't want more draft picks. I want game changers. And then in 2 years, when you're much better and you want to start adding with those middle picks and supplement, that's great. But it's a myth to think that the great teams don't have superstars. That's crazy. You need phenomenal game-changing players to turn the franchise around. They made a step in that direction last year with guys like Gordon and Trent, and I think you got to keep rolling with that. So would I want Miller? Yeah, I would. If he's on the board and Deion Jordan's not, or maybe the tight end from Notre Dame, which is he's kind of gaining some steam here, effort, or, but whatever, I guess what I'm saying is don't trade down. If you're going to trade down a few spots, okay, but don't trade down to 18 to 20 and choose an offensive guard because, seriously, I think I'll store him out of Berea and not look back.
Yeah.
That's what I've never been. I've liked sometimes in the past when they trade down. Obviously, a couple years ago, grabbing a Pro Bowler like Alex Mack was a great move, and Phil Taylor. But I've always thought, like you said with Tyler Everett from Notre Dame gaining some steam. A lot of people, originally didn't think he could go this early, but I've always been under the impression. If the guy could play at pick 16, he can play at pick 6. There's no point in shuffling around. If what you want is there, go for it. But ultimately, and another hot button issue with all of this is it possible at all that the Browns go quarterback in the first round? I
don't see how. I really don't. I just don't think. I think the temptation won't be there strong enough for them to do it. I think Brandon Weeden's going to look good in this offense. I remember Chud from 07 and what Derek Anderson did.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if they played out guys, and he's not the guy, which of course they would know this season, well, you're back in the top 10 next year. Maybe there's a better quarterback class, and you address it then. But to do it now for guys that just, I said they worked them all out. I know they wanted to check out Geno to make sure that they're not missing the next phenomenal player. Unless they really came away from that thinking this guy's got a little Russell Wilson in him and he can really make stuff happen, I don't see how they take a quarterback.
Absolutely.
Not that early. They could take one later in the draft and try to develop them. But how many of those guys do you need?
Yeah.
Unless Thad Lewis is definitely not in your plans. I just think, and again, that guy, by the way, that you develop, Tom Brady happens about as often as Haley's Comet. You're not going to get that guy there and he's going to be your franchise guy. It just doesn't happen. Look at who's winning Super Bowls.
Absolutely. And especially, with the changes in CBA and rules and stuff over the last couple of years where you more or less don't even need a third quarterback to dress. So, and with the signing of Jason Campbell, it definitely lessens the need for the position at the moment. But we're nearing the end of our time here a little bit, but there's something I wanted to bring up with you before we finished, is something with Progressive Field, a mandatory drill that's taking place tomorrow.
Yes.
And now I'm not sure if our listeners know or not, but it was scheduled obviously before recent events that obviously with Boston going on and everything, it was scheduled before that. But I was just wondering if you wanted to say to our fans just sort of what to expect. And
what does the public really need to know when they're downtown in the city tomorrow when they kind of see stuff going on?
Yeah, I think what they will notice is some SWAT teams driving in, stuff like that. They might hear some noises inside. Don't panic. This is all part of the plan. And, the timing was, when they announced it, was obviously awkward considering what happened in Boston a week ago today. But I think you'll see a few things, but most of it's, of course, going to take place inside the baseball stadium. So if you miss a couple of groups coming in, you won't even know what's happening. And if you hear a couple of noises, I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure, all our listeners have that cleared up and everything.
Well, we're talking about this, and then someone's going to be calling in tomorrow thinking it's War of the Worlds. You can warn people all you want, but it's not.
SWAT team's down in Cleveland.
That's too true. Too true. Speaking of the Indians, by the way, turns out we have slightly more time than I thought. Sorry about that. But by the way, about the Indians, real major issue going right now is starting pitching. Oh. Do you think there's anything that they get done in the near future, or is this sort of just what's going to be the ultimate Achilles heel the rest of the season?
No, I don't believe it will. Listen, I picked them to win 91 games, and so people want me drug tested. I get it. I believe in this team, and I believe that the rotation will look nothing like it does, save Masterson and maybe somebody else in about a month. And I did pick them to win those games because I thought Trevor Bauer would make an impact this season. I thought Casimir would, and I thought Carrasco would. So that has to play out for my thing to come true. But the bottom line is they're not going to be shuffling Brett Myers. I just don't see it. I don't see how they're going to look like this pitching-wise in another month. I know you guys were tight, and I didn't mean to push back my time. The next time we do it, I'll come in studio and we'll have a little more time to do it.
All right, that sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
All right, guys, keep in touch.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right, Tony Zarrella, everybody.
Good guy. Glad we could have him on. That was
nice
awesome.
Dude.
That was awesome. Yeah, and, unfortunately, scheduling-wise, we were kind of, all parties were sort of shuffling there to get this appearance on the show and everything done. But I'm glad he could make the time for us.
Yeah.
That was really, really nice of him. He's a real stand-up guy.
Yeah,
all right.
He knows his stuff, too.
Oh, yeah, he does. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, you're going to find out what's urinating us off. I'm going to unveil the first look at my NFL mock draft. 3 up, 3 down, all that and so much more. You're listening to High on Sports on the MSC Radio Network.
Following message is for those with a credit score of 800 and below. Who wouldn't want better credit? Did you ever wonder how different life would be from just having a higher credit score? Are you tired of being turned down for any kind of loan or only offered high interest rates because your credit score is holding you prisoner? Life doesn't have to be that way anymore with access to TurnScore. By increasing your credit score only 50 to 100 points, it can potentially save you tens of thousands of dollars in interest over just a 5 to 10 year period. It can be the difference in getting approved for a personal loan, business loan, high limits on credit cards, a brand new car lease, or even a home mortgage. We see so many ads from companies that give us our credit score, but once we get our credit score, what are they going to do to actually repair your credit? Unfortunately, nothing. Until now, TurnScore is the first automated credit repair platform that is simple, safe, and secure. You'll be empowered right from the comfort of your own computer so you can challenge and repair your credit report to ensure it's fair and accurate. TurnScore is specifically developed with you in mind. There's no more need for an attorney, credit repair companies, or credit counseling. More importantly, no more need for paying higher fees. TurnScore will help you get back on track and get the buying power you need. So whether you have bad credit, average credit, or even good credit, TurnScore is helping turn lives around one credit score at a time. Go to turnscore.com and enter the promo code MSC20 and get $20 off your purchase. That's TURNSCOR.com. TURNSCOR.com. Turnscore.com. Looking for reliable and affordable Shoutcast audio or video hosting? JWN Media offers complete Shoutcast hosting solutions for business or personal use. All plans come with full listener stats, custom web scripts for implementing your service into your existing website, full server control, super fast network, and huge bandwidth limits, a 99.5% uptime guarantee, and friendly, knowledgeable support personnel dedicated to making your hosting experience fun and easy. With plans starting at only $3 a month, you have no excuse not to get a server of your own. Plus, with the option to add auto DJ and on-demand services, you can be confident your station will be all it can be. Custom plans are also available at their website. Simply visit jwnmedia.com and click the Shoutcast hosting link to get started right now. You're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network.
Okay, right, we got some breaking news from downtown Cleveland. We're going to kick to our on-the-scene reporter, Justin.
This is Justin from the MSC Radio Network. We are live downtown where we've had some reports of some recent zombie attacks. We got a witness here that states she knows what's happening.
Oh my God, the zombie was eating that man's face. But I got an awesome Mindless Clothing t-shirt.
Mindless Clothing. www.mindlessclothing.com.
Hey, local bands and unsigned artists. What if I told you there was a place in Cleveland where you can get your merch made and have it sold in one location? What if I said you could bring your CDs and tickets to upcoming shows to this location? And what if I said you could do live acoustic sets at this location? I bet you're thinking there's no such place in Cleveland. Guess what? You'd be wrong. Contact Rick Navario at Rock City, Cleveland, and tell him you need merch made and you want to sell it in his store. Now, how cool is that? You can tell your fans to come down and get your stuff, and I think he'd ship your products to your fans. And he's local. Contact Rick Navario at Rock City, Cleveland today. 216-622-0377. That's 216-622-0377. If you have a product or service, let people know about it. Get your message out there and advertise on MSC Radio Network. It's easier than you think, and the whole planet is listening. Find out how you can advertise. Email Chris at morningshowcentral.com. Heat 99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. Jumping from one web host to another can be frustrating. Finding a good web host can be unnerving for even the most experienced of web designers. That's why Uncensored Net Noise has chosen P99 Technologies as its web hosting supplier. Established in 1999, P99 Technologies has evolved into a first-class web hosting provider. Its 99.9% uptime rivals many in the industry. That's why they offer their 30-day guarantee, no questions asked. For more information, go to P99.com. P99 Technologies will help you get started with your web presence with honest and expert customer service. P99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. If you're looking for the best in musical equipment, recording gear, sound reinforcement, and more, Guitar Center has you covered. Guitar Center, located at 26635 Brook Park Road in North Olmsted, has the tools of your trade with the largest selection of music and sound gear in the area. They cater to your musical needs and have the knowledge to help you out. Guitar Center in North Olmsted. MorningShowCentral.com uses them. You should too. Need to know more? Go to GuitarCenter.com. Call the show toll-free. 1-888-668-0742. You're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network on MorningShowCentral.com. User-friendly and ready to serve. MorningShowCentral.com. Oh, great. Not another farm bill request. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook.com/MorningShowCentral. Denying one farm bill request at a time.
I know. Oh my God, I know what we're gonna do. Oh, it's so delicious, I can almost taste it.
If you're looking for the best sub shop in town, look no further. Hanini Subs, located at 7310 Lorraine Avenue, is the place for you. Stop in for a cold cut sub, cheeseburger and fries, wingdings and fries, and so much more. And almost taste Hanini Subs at 7310 Lorraine Avenue is open 24 hours a day. Check them out on Facebook, Facebook.com/Burrito Crazy. And if you mention MSC Radio Network, you'll get $1 off your meal. It's all good at Hanini Subs. So damn good.
Hello and welcome to High on Sports. I am Ralphie, and with me, as always,
It's Ashley.
And I am Von Erich.
and whether you are watching us on your computer or listening on one of the many glorious apps, thank you for making High on Sports a part of your evening. Remember, if you're not listening on one of the many glorious apps, go to the App Store on your smartphone, search for TuneIn Radio, free to download, install that sucker, search MSC Radio Network, hit play, and you're listening to us on the go. And it's just that simple. And I always say at this point in the show, I always want to remind people, I get that 740 feeling going on in the old stomach region.
Yeah.
The little starving going.
dinner
I
time.
haven't my schedule. I don't eat dinner till after the show, so I get hungry. I'm a hungry. If you look at me, I'm a guy who's a fan of foods. Pretty big fan.
Food is good. It's my second favorite thing in the world next to sleep.
I'll tell you where they got some of the best foods is, of course, at our good friends Hanini Subs, located at 7310 Lorraine Avenue. And as I always want to remind you guys, while you're there purchasing a delicious Hanini sub, remember to tell them MSC Radio Network sent you, and you can get $1 off your meal. Remember, that is 7310 Lorraine Avenue. And remember, as always, you can communicate with us here on the show via email with I was starting to give you the Twitter and the email. I just combined them. Shows with an S at morningshowcentral.com. And you can tweet at us at high_on_sports. Or with the hashtag high-on-sports. Facebook.com/high-on-sports. And get to the website high-on-sports.net. And you got the archive of all our past shows, my blog, bunch of other fun stuff. And again, remember, immediately following the show will be my full first round 32 picks all the way from Kansas City to Baltimore. My entire first round mock draft. My entire first round mock draft will be in the Ralphie's Rant section at highansports.net. All right, let's get right into things here. It is round 2. Let's go. All right, it is time for What's Urinating Us Off. And we are going to start, as we always do, I do believe, with Von Erich.
90% of the time.
Von Erich, what's urinating you off?
Well, I didn't really have anything this week, so I'm going to go directly to my fantasy baseball team. And it is currently 0-3.
Oh, rough.
Even though I'm going up against teams who haven't set their lineup yet.
Man, you got no luck over there.
So the Pistoried franchise, I am the chamber in the bullet, or the bullet in the chamber, whatever Pistoried said before he shot his girlfriend.
Well, he thought she was a burglar.
What did we say, though? What did we say? I'm a glass half full kind of guy. He is the first ever no-legged Olympian to shoot and murder his girlfriend. That's an honor no one else will ever have. Just saying.
Messed up.
You would think that, my team, the guys on my team don't have any legs because I could see 6 of them right now that are on the disabled list.
That's rough.
My problem is my schedule and everything, obviously with the show and with paying attention to what's going on. I'm so in draft mode right now. You know how I am with the draft. It's my favorite time of the year. This is my Christmas coming up. I'm so in tune to the draft right now. NBA playoffs I'm keeping tabs on. Baseball, it's going to take center stage for me soon, but right now, to be honest, it's kind of got that third spot. So I try to keep up with things to change my lineup, but I'll just sort of get it when it's too late. Like, I'll just be online, and then it's just like, oh, Jonas Cespedes, a 15-day disabled list. Okay. Oh, wait, that's my fantasy team. Oh, wait, they started playing an hour ago. And then I'm like, oh, so I'll have to remember to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is a whole new day, people.
Right,
I don't know what's happening tomorrow. I got a whole night of sleep and several meals between then and now.
Because I was thinking about picking up Reynolds, but because I never actually do anything until 6 years after I think about it, this fool over here during break picked him up.
Till 6 years.
Sure did.
You never do anything till 6 years after you think about it, so you should be looking for Casey Blake right now, I guess.
Yep.
Just added Casey Blake.
I was just... exaggerating on how much of a procrastinator I am, and that's what always bites me in the ass.
And that's what always gets me is I get spoiled by fantasy football, knowing that there's like just that day. And so I know like Saturday I can be like, well, Saturday before I go to bed, I'll just make sure I got my stuff in order.
Yeah, baseball, there's the game every night. I get so confused, and I'm trying to watch the Indians, and I'm like, oh wait, fantasy, I gotta watch everybody else, and I'm like, no, I just want to watch the Indians.
And then it gets confusing because like everybody's playing all the time. There's somebody playing at noon. In like a Tuesday.
See, and that's what screws me up too, is because now all of a sudden they got these day games during the week, which is bananas.
It is bananas.
It's bull crap, I'm telling you. And you wonder why fans don't come. It's the middle of the day. People are at work, like me.
All right.
Well, you can come see us at a day game on May 13th.
Yes, right. I'm taking a day off, vacation.
All right, thank you, Von Erich, and now Ashley. After you were just fuming about that. Now, what are you fuming about now?
Well, obviously there's been reports all for a couple weeks now about Auburn, their football team, and everything that went on their 11 national championship season. Well, someone released a report saying that they were changing grades, paying players that would project high in the draft, pay them so they would stay for their senior year to get more fans. And their AD comes out and says, it's full of misinterpretations and it's flawed. Well, you know what? He didn't, like, I don't know, he's just, it's irritating.
I may not gain any fans here, but is he sure that he's able to read it? He's from Alabama.
So they're fighting it, but I mean, if there was this much, it's not, it's not like it was, they just said it with one player. They just said one thing, this guy was paid or whatever. No, there's reports of just half the team getting their grades fixed, half the team getting players getting paid so they don't leave for the NFL.
You know what it's like, honestly, is it's similar to something we talked about with Tony Zarrella, who, by the way, if you missed the first half of the show, we had on the phone 19 Action News sports director Tony Zarrella. If you missed that, check out the show on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search High on Sports. We are the original red, white, and blue High on Sports. Do not be fooled by the imposters. #USA. But Mr. Zarrella brought up a good point, was about the Jimmy Haslam stuff with the FBI probe and everything. The FBI does not come knocking on your door when it's got nothing.
Yeah.
Once the FBI is involved, it's because they have something.
Yeah.
It's just how hard are they going to get you? It's similar like this with this, is how many accusations of pay-for-play type things are there going to be? How many accusations can an entirely innocent program have before they finally cave?
If someone was just making it up, the story would have fizzled out.
If the Cam Newton stuff came up and went away and we're done, then we're done.
But now this is coming out too.
More. You don't have like 20 different accusations
and they talk to former
and not be
players.
guilty.
The best part is they talked to all the former players, but then after, I don't think the former players were smart enough to realize, oh, maybe if I'm telling someone they fixed my grades because I'm retarded and I don't know how to go to class and pass, or oh, I was going to go to the NFL, but they wanted to keep me, so they paid me what the NFL was going to pay me. And then, when the report comes out, they're like, no, they misinterpreted what we said. How can you misinterpret, they fixed my grades? You can't misinterpret that.
To the point I was making, it's like Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong, we were under the impression he was clean, and then all of a sudden people start coming out and pointing fingers, and he's like, hey, stop it. So they go away, and then more fingers point at him.
And he keeps denying it and denying it, and then finally he just goes, you know what? I'm done.
It's not unheard of that people face accusations and are innocent.
Yeah.
But if you constantly have new accusations,
more and more and more,
generally speaking, at some point they've got you on something.
Yeah. And they have you.
A truly clean athlete does not get as many steroid accusations as he got.
Yeah.
Without it finally coming to light. And it's just like that with Auburn. A clean university does not face as many accusations as they've faced.
Yeah, and not against, it'll just be one player like it was when it was just Cam Newton. But now it's multiple players, and it's because the site that released the report on it interviewed players who were there, who did it.
Exactly.
And then they're going, no, you misunderstood what we said.
And I want to say something. Kudos to the woman. I don't have her name offhand, but the woman who reported this originally about all this is she's from there. She's, I guess, a graduate of their journalism program or something. And she is not a popular woman in that town.
No,
right
they're
now.
probably pissed.
But she said, I heard her in an interview, and she said, her professor, or she's always been told in journalism, if you're looking for a problem, start in your own backyard. And
she
did. Here it is. So, kudos to her. It took some balls.
Yeah.
It's like, if you find out something ridiculous about the Browns or something and just started telling people in this city,
you'd get punched in the throat.
People would get pissed off.
Yeah.
But she had the lady balls to go ahead and do this. And kudos to her, I have to say. All right, thank you, Ashley. And now I am going to relinquish my urinating off and exchange it.
I would have known that.
I know. And exchange it for more time to break down my first round mock draft. My mock drafts have never been wrong ever. I'm actually, last year I got all 256. So
undefeated.
I'm obviously wrong.
I know, that's pretty impressive.
I'm clearly lying. So
clearly.
I think it's a fad because obviously, as you guys know, if you listen to the show regularly, I am so up on the mock drafts. I'm looking at them from everywhere. Credible news source or not, I'm looking at mock drafts all the time. I'm looking at mock drafts after week 1. I always like to go see, okay, well, Browns just lost. Well, who are we looking forward to here?
Yeah.
And I remember when it was Monte Teo. I remember when Monte Teo was assumed by many to be the number 1 overall pick. Now, late first rounder will be a good day for him. Times clearly change.
Well, when you
show up out of nowhere.
You're nuts
Late
in the
first
national
rounder would be
championship.
lucky for him and lucky for the team that gets him.
True.
To be honest.
Well, I don't know. Did you see the way he played against Alabama?
That's true.
Think he was overrated for the regular season.
And did you see the
Because
way
Alabama dismantled him.
he dated a man?
Yeah,
anyway,
he did. No, it was a pretend.
No, and you know what I gotta say is some people made a good point about this.
Pretend.
Here's what he needs to do: is make himself the joke. Come right in, know you're gonna get crap, but if you play well, honestly, they'll shut up.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is if they don't give you any crap is a bigger problem because that shows no one's noticing you're there.
Yeah, then they don't even.
So he needs to be prepared for this in his locker room. I say he just walks up in with a blow up sex doll on the first day.
But like,
hey
my
guys,
girlfriend.
Want to introduce you to my girlfriend before we go any further?
That's what I would do.
Just be if you. They always say if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?
Yeah.
All besides other people. But I mean, it's just he needs to go in and he needs to be use humor as a defense mechanism. Like I said earlier in the show, I'm a bigger guy. I've been doing that my whole life. Nobody says, hey, look at that, fat guy. They're like, hey, he's funny.
Yeah, but food is good.
He's funny. He's good looking. He loves his Hanini subs. Not that they're never mind. They are delicious, though. And remember, tell them MSC Radio Network sent you. You'll get $1 off your meal. What?
Buck can go a long way.
In this economy?
That's
here's my mock draft. Anyways, as I was saying, though, what a lot of mock drafts have been saying is that a lot of mock drafts have actually been predicting trades now. Because there was always the one caveat going into a mock draft is we've predicted no trades.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start doing that because I have no freaking clue. I don't predict trades that are going to happen. I see a lot of people projecting.
One already happened.
Exactly. One already happened. I do have that included, obviously. The Jets now acquiring that pick from Tampa Bay. But I don't project trades that I think will happen on draft day because you just can't know. That's the one that's the total question mark. But here we go. We'll start at number 1, logically. Kansas City Chiefs. They addressed the quarterback issue with Alex Smith. Still some rumors circulating. Not so much anymore since Alex Smith. But before that Geno Smith could be the guy. He's not. It's Luke Joeckel out of Texas A&M, the offensive tackle. There's 3 real stud, textbook-style, bookend left tackles in this draft, and he is one of these franchise tackles. The one name that is also circulating around this number 1 spot is Eric Fisher out of Central Michigan is another one. A lot of people, myself included, believe, though, they would go Luke Joeckel over Eric Fisher. But again, there's no clear best of the best. So this is kind of a why not take him sort of pick, which is really weird. Next, I have Jacksonville going Deion Jordan. But don't think it would be crazy to see Geno Smith here. Let's not forget, Jacksonville does not have a quarterback.
No.
It is absolute crap. But I have Deion Jordan, outside linebacker out of Oregon, who I'll admit is kind of the guy at the top of my big board right now as far as who I'd love to see in a Browns uniform. But I do think he will be scooped up before that time comes. Next is the Oakland Raiders losing Desmond Bryant to the Browns, the defensive tackle, so they need to address that position immediately with Sheriff Floyd, defensive tackle out of Florida. Geno Smith is also rumored to possibly be going to Oakland, but they made that trade with Seattle to get what's his name?
Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn, thank you. To get Matt Flynn from Seattle, so it looks like he's going to be taking over that duty. For Philadelphia Eagles, this is where I have Geno Smith, quarterback, West Virginia, calling his new home. I just think it's made to work in that Chip Kelly offense. I think he could thrive there, and I think they have enough at the quarterback position with that 1-year deal for Vic and everything that they don't have to rush him. Because I would not be surprised, although I do think at least one will, but I would not be terribly shocked if the NFL started next year with no rookie quarterbacks starting. It would be the first time in I don't even know how long, especially
Because,
considering
there's
last
not-
year we had 5. 5 rookie quarterbacks started week 1
Because
last
there's
year.
not a standout.
There's nobody that's ready to
star.
just go
No,
now.
because Geno Smith, he's the best one of the draft, and he's not even
A
close
lot
to
of
being
teams
ready
that will take
to
quarterbacks.
start in the NFL.
A lot of teams that will take quarterbacks early in this draft address the position,
Yeah.
at least for a stopgap. Buffalo Bills, Kevin Cobb's going to go week 1, I'd have to think.
Yeah.
Matt Flynn, obviously with Oakland. You look at, and then they move Carson Palmer to Arizona to retire. Not actually retire. I'm saying
But
figuratively because that's what you do when you go to Arizona. So, all these teams that will most likely go quarterback aren't going to go right out of the gate with them. Not like last year when we had 5 rookie starters week 1. Detroit Lions, I have them going with a homegrown guy, Eric Fisher, offensive tackle, Central Michigan. They got a stud at quarterback when he's not being sacked, and they would like to keep him upright. So, obviously with Matthew Stafford there. And then comes the Cleveland Browns, and as we talked about earlier in the show, I do have them selecting D. Milliner, cornerback out of Alabama, to bookend him with
Joe Hayden.
With Joe Hayden, yes. Joe Hayden, D. Milliner in the backfield.
It'd be nasty.
That's going to be
It's a nasty secondary.
pretty sight. Arizona Cardinals, again, I don't think they have to go quarterback right out of the gate, so I have them going with Ezekiel Ziggy Ansah, defensive end out of BYU. And now here's where things get a little crazy at the number 8 spot. I have the Buffalo Bills going quarterback already. I have them going with Ryan Nassib, quarterback out of Syracuse. They got Syracuse's head coach. They're in New York State.
Yeah.
It just all makes too much sense. At number 9, the New York Jets. A lot of people thinking quarterback is an option for them. I unfortunately think they don't immediately get rid of Mark Sanchez like they should. I am just
Should've been gone a long
from day
time ago.
one. I have not liked Mark Sanchez. I've
No.
always wanted to see him gone, and I can't wait for that to happen. Can't wait for him to see him as an Arizona Cardinal. It just feels like that's where he's going to go. But
I
no,
don't even think Arizona will take him.
but I have them going Barkevius Mingo, who gets the award for one of the best first names I've ever seen. Barkevius Mingo, outside linebacker, LSU. Rounding out the top 10, I have Tennessee Titans going with guard from Alabama, Chance Warmack. And by the way, for full disclosure, with the other pick that the Jets have, which is at 13, I have them with Xavier Rhodes, corner out of Florida State, immediately in the first round, addressing the absence of Darrelle Revis. So we'll see how that plays out, obviously. And other than that, by the way, no other quarterbacks going. And as far as, sort of hot name players, Monte Teo I do have going 25 to the Minnesota Vikings. So that's one to keep an eye on. And for you Ohio State fans, I have Jonathan Hankins, defensive tackle, going to New England with the 29th pick. So I think that's how it's going to shape up. I'm probably wrong on most fronts, if not all of them. So we'll see. Last year, wasn't it some ridiculous number? Like of the top 10, only one of them or two of them actually selected in their own spot with all the
I think
shuffling
so.
and moving around. Of the top 10, the only people that
so.
picked in their actual spot were number 1 overall with the Colts, and I can't remember one of the other teams
The
later on.
Redskins moved up.
Browns
we
moved up
switched with
1.
Minnesota.
Redskins moved up. The Cowboys came into the top 10.
Yeah.
It was just utter chaos. Utter chaos. All right. It's time for 3 Up, 3 Down. Down number 3, broadcasting legend Al Michaels, arrested for suspicion of DUI this weekend.
Jesus.
He's one of the good ones.
Al Michaels, come on.
Figure it out, buddy.
Do you believe in miracles?
Down number 2, Rolando McClain, of course the former Raider, now Raven, arrested for disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. Funny meme I saw of him was his mugshot, and it says, "You can take Rolando out of the Raiders, but you can't take the Raiders out of Rolando."
I mean, he's been arrested like freaking 10 times in the last 2 years.
Down number 1, Byron Scott, fired by the Cavaliers after winning just 64 games in 3 years.
Yikes.
Up number 3, J.R. Smith, Knicks guard named 6th man of the year. Congratulations. Up number 2, NBA home teams. Home team went 8-0 in first 2 days of playoffs for the first time since 2003. It's interesting. And up number 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. acquired Darrelle Revis from the Jets, signed him to a 6-year deal with no money guaranteed.
That's how you do it.
I don't know how you
Play
work
for your
that,
money, right?
but
You better
good
earn
work,
it.
Bucks. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Next week, we will break down all the draft days moves that the Browns made, more NBA playoff action, MLB, all that and so much more. So
would you sign that, though?
What?
Would you sign
For
that?
no guaranteed?
Yeah.
It's not. It's basically, it would only hurt him if he got cut before the season started.
Oh, okay, I get you.
So, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it's an implied guaranteed.
It's just don't suck ass.
Exactly.
And we'll pay
as
you your
long
money.
as he's on the roster like 3 days into next season, he gets like $16 million. So I think he'll be all right. All right, well, for Chris, for Von Erich, for Ashley, I am Ralphie saying good night, everybody. Thanks again to Mr. Tony Zarrella from 19 Action News. And thanks to all of you who listened to the show tonight. Remember, we will be on next week, same time, same place. Thanks for listening to High on Sports on MorningshowCentral.com.